Communication is the key to your child's success in life. Studies have shown that children with good speaking and listening skills make friends more easily, do well at school, are more likely to stay out of the criminal justice system and be successful in the workplace. You play a major role in supporting your child's communication development. It's never too early to start. Babies who have dads that are involved with them and make time for playing and chatting show better development and higher IQs at 12 months and 3 years. Early stimulations from dads is also linked to boys' motivation to learn when they're older. So it's not just mums who teach their children, dads are vital too.
Tune in.
You need to start by tuning into how your child is playing and communicating. Did you know that a father's sensitivity in playing with his 2-year-old predicts the child's security at age 10 and adjustment at age 16?
Follow your child's lead. Tune in by following your child's lead in play. Try not to dive in and take over. Let them show you how they want to play. This will depend on the stage of play development your child's at. Young babies will mouth, grasp and bang objects together to explore them. Try copying their actions with the toys. Toddlers will start to use some pretend play. Try copying and extending their play. The older the child gets, the more complex their playing becomes. So follow the storylines your child comes up with. Letting them lead will keep their attention for longer. This means more time for you to share talk with them. Face to face. Make sure you're always face to face and on the same level as your child. You can make eye contact more easily, and your child will be able to hear your speech better and see all the facial expressions you're making. You can see them and notice when their attention starts to drift, or which toys really excite them. Move round with your child so that you stay face to face. Remember, newborn babies can only see things about 20 to 25 centimetres away, so joint eye gaze whilst you're having a cuddle is ideal. If you take your child out and about, it's worth knowing that recent research by Dundee University has shown that pusher-facing buggies actually benefit children's communication. You can have great face-to-face interaction as you walk along and chat about what you see around you. Press pause. Avoid diving in and taking over the play. Instead, press pause and take a moment to watch exactly what your child's doing. Wait for them to invite you in. With babies, this may be something as subtle as making eye contact or passing you a toy, and you might need to wait patiently. Older children's cues are more obvious, and you probably won't need to wait as long. Join in and play. Now the fun bit starts. Let out the big kid in you. Let your child lead the play, but try to extend it by adding ideas and suggestions. Rough and tumble is a real favourite with dads and kids. The amount of physical play, affection and sociable interactions dads share with their 3 and 4-year-olds actually predicts that child's later popularity with peers, especially when dads and children take turns to come up with play ideas. Speak up. Now you've tuned into your child, it's time to speak up. Dads tend to talk differently to their children than mums. They use more abstract words and offer more explanations. This helps the child understand differences between their own emotions and those of other people. It also helps widen their vocabulary and understanding of how the world works, so keep it up. The here and now. Talk about the here and now, what's happening around you or what your child is doing. This is important because young children's understanding of time concepts like past and future don't develop straight away. They understand more about things they can actually see and experience around them. This way, you're making your language visual, which helps children to understand and learn new words. Babies love the
Hello.
special style of
Hello,
talking you
little fella.
naturally use with them, known
I
as
check you okay?
parentese. It has a higher pitch than usual
Hello.
and an exaggerated sing-song
Hello.
pattern with elongated
Oh,
vowels.
yeah, you good boy.
It's biologically geared to getting and holding your baby's attention.
Would you like some baked
Provide a
beans,
running
Fiona?
commentary on what you're doing during the day.
Some spaghetti, maybe?
You might feel a bit daft,
See if we
but
can
you're
find
bound to be
some.
doing it without even realising. It's just how humans instinctively talk to babies, and it's good for them. Talk in your first language.
Talk to your child in the language you feel most comfortable with.
There's no evidence to suggest that using more than one language slows down a child's language development. In fact, being bilingual helps children academically and with future career prospects. It's a great gift to give to a child and should be celebrated. They'll pick up English once they start nursery and school. Simple language.
Talk to your child in short, simple sentences. This helps with their understanding of language. A child of about a year will only understand instructions with one key word. For example, where's your hat? A child of 2 can understand instructions containing 2 key words, like find your hat and shoes. And a child of 3 can understand more instructions with 3 parts, like put on your hat and shoes and wait by the door. So instead of saying, right, let's go upstairs and run your bath now, try saying, bath time. Saying your child's name before you give an instruction really helps them to listen. If they hear and understand what you said first time, you won't need to keep repeating yourself. Well, that's the idea anyway.
There's one thing that I find that gets some parents quite frustrated is, why do you never listen to me? They're not listening probably because they haven't heard what you've said or understood what you've said. So make sure, bam, you're right down on their level and communicate that. And then wait a couple of minutes. And you can actually ask them to repeat it back to you. Did you understand what I said? Because sometimes daddy speaks too fast. Did you understand it? What did I say then? And they should be regurgitating. If they don't, then you know you haven't explained it correctly.
Repeat, repeat, repeat.
Repetition is the key to language learning. Think of yourself as a parrot. You may think you sound funny or boring repeating words over and over, but you're actually helping your child. Say the same little phrases at bed, bath or mealtime, like bib on, snack time.
Cut down questions.
Adults tend to ask children an endless list of questions. What colour is it? How many are there? What are you doing? It's because we want our child to talk to us. But you might be turning the chat into a bit of an interrogation, especially if you don't leave time for your child to respond before you fire another one at them. Avoid asking too many questions. Instead, try
Commenting. Turn your questions into comments. Instead of, what colour's the bus? Say, look, a red bus. Genuine questions.
Only ask questions you genuinely don't know the answer to. When you ask a child what colour or how many, you're testing their knowledge. But they can learn so much more about concepts like colour and number if you give them the information instead of testing them.
Repeat and add.
Toes. How many's toes?
Add language in at the right level and give them a nudge onto the next stage of language development by repeating back what your child says, then adding a word. Modelling.
Young children make errors with speech sounds because their speech sound system takes time to develop. A child's speech is usually easy to understand by the age of 3 years old, but more tricky sounds will still be developing until around 5 years or older. You can help by simply repeating back words in the correct way if they make a mistake.
Waiting. Children need longer to process their responses than adults. It can take up to 12 seconds in young children and babies. Waiting is a really useful and powerful strategy.
You found another one? Oh, you want those there?
We naturally want to fill awkward silences, so might not leave enough time for children to process what they've heard and formulate their response. Taking turns. This is the basis of a good conversation. It's all about balance. Try to match the number of turns with your child. Neither one of you should be dominating the interaction. Extend and expand. For older children who are using longer sentences, you can help them get a grasp of the language of learning.
This is the language used in school, where they'll be expected to do new things like predict, infer meaning, plan, negotiate, problem solve and reason.
Dads are really good at extending and expanding on their child's talk. You could try providing details,
Well, it hasn't rained for a few days and we haven't watered them for a few days, have we?
relating to the past or present.
No, the pear tree's over there.
Yeah, but it's quite high, isn't it? Look, there's some quite big pears at the top there.
Yeah.
We might need to get the ladder out in a few weeks.
Talking about the future,
When we go on holiday, we're going to go in a plane.
pretending,
Check your reflexes. Dunk. Oh, that's good. Dunk. 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 Dunk.
try out. Love books, love learning.
A lifelong love of books is one of the best things you can give your child. Sharing books with young children makes them better at talking and makes learning to read and write a lot easier for them. Studies have shown that dads have a really strong influence on their kids' reading development.
Try to make book sharing an everyday activity. Bedtime's a great time to read. But how about other times in the day? Maybe while dinner's cooking, or for a few minutes over breakfast. The more time dads spend reading themselves, the better their children do on reading tests. Be a good role model and let your child see you reading. It doesn't have to be a novel. The sports section or TV guide in the newspaper, maps, football programmes, road signs or even the takeaway menu are just as helpful. Try to choose appropriate books for your child's age. Cloth, touchy-feely and black and white books are great for newborns as they can only see in contrasting colours.
Give him a wave.
Lift the flat
before you
books with
go.
colourful pictures and simple stories are ideal for toddlers.
First little chick going
Picture
peck,
books
peck,
with
peck.
more complex
The
stories
second
or
little
fairy
chick
tales
going
are
cheep,
great for
cheep,
preschoolers
cheep.
and
The
children
third
starting
little chick
school.
Going flat, flat, flat.
They'll learn
There's a little
so
chick
much
there.
about how language works and how writing should be structured.
Where's Cuddly Cow hiding?
And remember, you don't have to read books all the way from start to finish.
She behind the
You
red
don't even have to
boots?
read all the words. Follow your
No,
child's
that's not
lead with the
Cuddly
book
Cow.
by letting them hold
Is
and
she
touch
behind the
it,
blue bucket?
and they'll soon show you which
There
bits
she
interest
is.
them. Comment on pictures using short, simple sentences, like the boy's eating. How about telling stories from your own life or making up stories without using books? Songs for today, words for life.
I think some dads can feel a bit uncomfortable with singing, or maybe a bit self-conscious. Songs activate the whole of a child's brain. One side processes the words, while the other side processes the music. Because the whole of the brain is activated, this makes the brain learn and retain information more easily. That's why new vocabulary and concepts like numbers are learnt so effectively with songs. Songs have really predictable structures because they have a rhythm and they rhyme. Try leaving gaps for your child to fill in. You'll be amazed how quickly they pick up words and actions doing this.
If you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream. Yeah!
I believe dads might not feel comfortable with singing. I don't feel comfortable with singing. You see me in a church and I'm holding the sheet up, but I'm not actually singing. But with my daughter, I will sing, but not in tune. I'm not a Pavarotti or anything like that, but I sing like I'm speaking, but there's a bit of a melody there as well.
TV talk.
Limit the amount of time your child watches TV. Lots of TV watching can affect how well their talking develops, but controlled amounts can have some educational benefits for 2 to 5-year-olds.
Treat television watching like sharing a book.
Yeah.
Watch with your child and talk about what's happening.
You went swimming last
Once the
week,
programme
or Friday.
ends,
Yeah.
switch it
Your
off
swimming lesson.
and do something together
How did you get
inspired
on?
by what you've just seen.
Did you do good?
This could be anything from
did you do?
doing some baking after a kid's cooking
Did you
show
backstroke?
or making your own musical instruments with
Did you
pots and
backstroke?
pans to sing the theme tune together. Make the most of your time.
Lots of dads I've spoken to feel that they don't get to spend as much time as they'd like to with their children. 5 minutes of quality time in the day when you can give your child your full attention without distractions is infinitely better than hours of time together not really connecting.
Grab it where you can, your special time. This might be over breakfast or at bedtime. If you're not around at bedtime, how about a 5-minute phone or Skype chat? Maybe you could buy or borrow 2 copies of the same book and share them over the phone or Skype, turning the pages together and reading out loud. Involve your child in your odd jobs and DIY. You might think they'll slow you down, but once they're involved and busy, they'll learn so much and you'll both have fun. They'll learn about time concepts like first, next, last, and sequencing skills when you talk about how you're planning to do a job or what tools you'll need. They'll learn lots of new object and action words when you label the tools or the actions you're using. They'll feel pride and success when they do a job right for you. Something simple, maybe putting the grass into a bin bag once you've cut it, or helping with the last twist on a screw. When you're catching up with emails or looking at Facebook, why not look at photos with your child that have been posted or downloaded? Talk about what's happening in the pictures using simple language, or, for older children, ask them if they can remember the story behind the picture.
If it's your turn to do the food shopping, a supermarket trolley provides great face-to-face time where you can chat to your child about the things you put in the trolley. Label each item and use some describing words to talk about what things taste, look, feel and smell like. Or in the car, try turning off the radio and singing a song or talking about what you can see as you go by. You are the best portable toy your child could have. So, I hope you can see just how vital you are to boosting your child's talking and listening, and how this sets them up for a happy and successful life. Words are free, but they're also priceless.